Rieger getting traded to Minnesota changes nothing.
6'4" guys running 4.4s. These guys don't grow on trees. And a lot of times I'm willing to bet on, especially long term, on the freak athlete.
You don't ever want to overreact to what guys look like in preseason. There's been a ton of preseason all-stars that never make rosters or never pan out.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Belly Up Fantasy Live here on Belly Up Sports. I am Andrew, aka Mr. Mallard, joined as always by Chase, by Kevin, the number one Wilson in the world.
That's right.
How are you guys doing this morning?
Getting by.
Getting by, right?
Well, we're coming to the end of our little vacation here today, so it's kind of a down scenario. But other than that, we are doing great, and we are glad to be here.
You pushing it right up to checkout time here?
Well, actually, I'm going over because I'm supposed to be checking out as we speak. And so if they knock on the door, my wife just said, "Don't worry about it. I'll handle it." So I've got the handler on station. So
okay, we'll get a little visit from housekeeping on the show here, I guess.
That's right. Maybe security and maybe the dogs will come in here. Who knows what? So we'll see.
You can mute the mic if they come in and start vacuuming. So
yeah, there we go. Well, it is a beautiful Sunday. It's playoff time, people. This is your last week in most leagues to make your push. I don't know how you guys are faring. I'm out in one league, in two others. I really don't have anything to worry about today because nothing's going to change my scenario in any of my leagues.
I'm pretty much in the same position as you. I'm in first place in one dynasty league, fighting for my life, and when the other dynasty and redraft, it's been pretty much down the drain. And I guess we'll see what's going to happen in the league the charity league.
Oh yeah.
So I'm in that. So I think I need to win that one to get in.
Salvage it.
So,
I gotta check to see how the Belly Up Bowl.
You don't have to do anything in that league. It just runs itself. So I have been paying not too a whole lot of attention over there.
You could check my weekly article that updates us all.
I did see that, and I did tweet it out. I don't know if you saw that, but
so here's the thing. I've gone through the entire season in that league without a kicker because I had drafted. I had drafted.
Okay, I didn't know that you could get away with that sort of thing. So.
I had drafted because I had drafted Fry, but then Fry got cut, or I forget what happened to Fry, and I didn't have another.
Yeah, he got fried. That's what it was. So
I didn't have another kicker on the team.
We had like 78 bench spots in that league. It felt I drafted 2. I was and with different bye weeks, I was like, that way.
So you know what? I'm not 100% like used to drafting best ball, and I honestly just forgot to take a second kicker. I got so caught up in all the other positions of just getting as deep as possible. I just didn't even realize
that's probably a sound strategy because now you got extra.
Oh, an extra guy on the bench.
Yeah, when every player in the NFL is hurt, now you've got a guy to put in there. So
yeah,
except that your kicker wasn't. Yeah, like you didn't have your kicker for the entire season necessarily. I mean, if you can get away with that, if your guy stays healthy for the full season, you'd essentially be punting on that position 1 week for sure. Yep. The rest of the year, for the most part, kickers are interchangeable anyway, so it's not like you're giving up points necessarily. But like Kevin just said, now you've got a deeper bench by one guy, and it's another option every single week.
You never can tell. One point might be the difference between sitting home and making the playoffs.
And that's a decent bridge real quick, as long as we're talking best ball things before we get to Sunday here. You guys are both faring much better than I am in that charity league. Honestly, it was the first best ball league I've ever drafted as well. I've always done head-to-head matchups. And part of my strategy, I picked a lot of guys. I have Odell Beckham on my team. I have Jameson Williams.
Yeah, you took some shots.
Yeah, I took some shots with guys that I knew were going to be coming later in the year. I have DeAndre Hopkins in that league, which actually worked out really well. But the problem with it is and I found this out, see now as we've gone through the year. The problem with it is that when I've got that, even though we've got, I think it was actually like 20 bench spots or something like
Yeah,
that.
it seems like it's 110 or something like that, but yeah.
But the problem is that when I have all those guys that aren't playing, like we just talked about, kind of, if a guy is hurt, he's not available. Well, if a guy is on bye, he's not available. Between buys and all the guys that I took that I knew I wasn't going to have until the second half of the season, I pull every week. I'm a much smaller pool of guys who are actually scoring. So if my guys don't hit, I've got a chance to actually score those points that I need. Now, I'm not the lowest scoring team in my league by a long shot, but every week, week in and week out, it's like I'm pulling from a smaller pool, so I have a much less chance of winning. So, hey, live and learn. But going forward, I will not be. I might take a shot or two like that, especially 20 guys on the bench, but
not the whole bench.
Doing too much, doing too much of that really shorted me every week going in, and especially when guys get hurt throughout the season as well. So.
Yeah, well, I'm 6-7 in my league, and it looks like if I win this week and the guy in front of me loses, actually if one of two guys in front of me loses, I will sneak into the playoffs because I am drastically outscoring them on the season. So
there you go. So all you need is to get in, and who knows?
Here's to that. I'm
7-6, and I think that I might need to win as well, and so we'll see. I'm like Chase. I haven't done best ball, and so like you said, live and learn, and we'll go from here.
That's for the kids.
For sure.
It's for the kids.
That's right. That's for the kids, and $25 or whatever that was that you had to put in to get in. That was worth it, no matter what happened.
Oh, 100%. Right. 100%. So that's while we're talking playoffs. Remember, this is the time of year. If you're locked into a playoff spot, grab an extra defense, grab an extra tight end, start setting yourself up for not being necessarily, because you don't have to obviously prepare for bye weeks anymore. Other than this week, it's so evil the way for fantasy that
Chase and I talked about that
we skipped a bye week Thanksgiving week, and then instead we got a bye week for the last week before the playoffs.
I don't know why you have to have. Yeah, I don't know why you have to have 18 teams on bye in the same week.
Yeah, it's freaking it's
wild. But, and you had just 2 last week. So why can't you spread that out a little bit more? I don't understand it. I'd like the scheduler, if we can get him or her to come on the show and explain that, that would be awesome.
Well, like I said, be prepared so that you can set yourself up to play matchups. Really look at the matchups week to week for the guys that you're definitely starting. And if you see someone on your team who is going to have a tougher matchup that you're not 100% sold is going to hit a ceiling that week, find someone on the waivers that you can maybe slide in that week.
That's right. Waivers are just as important as going in the playoffs as they are getting into it.
Yeah, so be very week specific as you get ready for the playoffs here, and you should be in good shape. So real fast, as far as injuries go this week, guys,
there's 1,000 of them.
It's all about the quarterbacks too. Obviously, we lose Jimmy Garoppolo here, which
and the tight ends are still.
It's
kind
of
all
unheard
6 feet under at this point.
There's teams probably really freaking out this week because Lamar Jackson, Jimmy Garoppolo. There's Trevor Lawrence. Looks like he's going to play. I'm surprised he is. So we'll see how effective he is with that turf toe. But the quarterbacks, 3 quarterbacks made it inside the medical tent this week. And I think it's because
which was an excellent article, by the way. If you haven't read it, you need to do that this morning before the game starts.
Last minute, because you'll see all the guys that could be taking their place, like
that's right.
Someone named Purdy and Tyler Huntley.
I don't think there's been a guy that's been Mr. Irrelevant that had his name more in the news than this guy had.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but how many of those guys have found themselves in this important position? There's been guys who have played or who have made rosters and
right. But I'm just talking about name in the news.
Yeah,
this guy's on the front page of the San Francisco paper.
He's now the starting quarterback for a playoff team. That's a big deal. I don't necessarily know that I want anything to do with him yet in fantasy.
No. Even in a 2 quarterback league, you have to have a better option.
But as the starting quarterback now, as Mr. Irrelevant. I think of how this, think of the roller coaster this kid's been on.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, so
am I going to get drafted or not? And then when he gets drafted, hey, here's a bunch of free stuff. Like you had a New Year's
but
baby.
don't they give you like a trip to Hawaii or
And
something
then
like that?
a bunch of I think they all get a bunch of stuff like cars and everything. I mean, it's like I said, it's like having a New Year's baby and you get a bunch of free blankets and teddy bears and shit from the county. But like, I mean, here's a guy who didn't know if he was going to get drafted until the last ass minute on draft day.
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets, hey, I get to go to the 49ers. They're not a bad team, but
Right, but he goes to a team that's got like
800
15
quarterbacks,
quarterbacks, it seems like, so he's not going to play.
and
now here he
we are.
is.
Yeah,
He's the
good for
captain of the
you,
ship.
dude.
And
Good
he
for
may
you.
be leading them on a deep playoff run. We'll see. Look, and I know that there's talk of Jimmy G potentially being back for the playoffs.
He won't be back for fantasy playoffs.
That's got no relevance
fantasy
to
playoffs.
fantasy
It doesn't matter.
whatsoever.
Yeah. No,
unless you do one of those teams, unless you do one of those fantasy leagues or whatever, where when the playoffs start, everybody kind of takes it's like an eliminator pool almost, and you pick the guys that you can get, and if your guy makes it through to the Super Bowl, you get more points, and if your guy gets wiped out in wild card weekend, you're up a creek.
Yeah, I always
Jimmy G's not going to be relevant unless it's something like that. For fantasy purposes, it's Purdy or bust from here on out if you're in the 49er camp.
It sure is, which means expect a lot of CMC, expect a lot of Jordan Mason,
Deebo
Samuel. Like it's gonna be that show right there. So readjust your expectations.
That's right.
For the 49ers
Absolutely.
from a fantasy standpoint here.
But you could do a lot. You could do a lot
more
worse.
than block.
You could
do a lot worse than those guys.
I'm talking for Purdy's standpoint. You could do a lot
Absolutely.
worse than having George Kittle.
That's right. You could be,
Brandon Ayuk,
Purdy and the
Deebo
quarterback
Samuel,
of the Giants. And
CMC,
that's a different scenario altogether.
Right? But I mean, he's got a lot of options for short passes too. Not just not just throwing the ball, period. I mean, they can run every single one of those guys on short routes, underneath routes. Who do you cover? So I mean, he's always going to have a hot read open, you would think, because of how talented that team is, but how versatile they all are as well.
Yeah,
you can do. I mean,
I
hope the kid shows out.
You'd feel a lot better if they weren't going up against the Tampa Bay defense.
But what is good about all those options? What is good about all those options? Like you alluded to, the short passes, CMC and Deebo are just yards after catch monster. Like they can do a lot of point getting for Purdy, where he doesn't have to do anything except just dump it. Right. And all of a sudden he's going to get like a 30-yard play to his name.
Quick slant, and let those guys do the rest. Or swing pass in the backfield to Samuel or CMC.
Just make sure you don't go up 16-3 because that's deadly.
So it's gonna be an interesting week, and I have a feeling because we talked about the buys, because we talked about the injuries. I feel like after this week, there's gonna be a lot of complaining and a lot of teams who feel like they got robbed, and I just feel like it's going to be one of those weeks next week where people are talking about rule changes. I mean, it happens every year once the playoffs are set, where people are talking about rule changes. Oh, maybe the guy with this many points should get in over a guy or record.
Those are all conversations to have between February.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah, I don't want to hear it on December.
They always start.
I don't want to hear it. December 11th?
I'm not doing great in all 19 of my leagues either, but
yeah,
those are conversations to have between February and August when you're not in the heat of the moment and when everybody's had time to let their emotions cool and actually think about what's best for the league. Listen.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not the only dude who's third in your league in scoring and third from the bottom in the standings. It happens all over the place all the time.
Happens every year to one.
You had the same opportunity to take everyone else.
About redraft, it happened to me when the first 2 weeks I had almost 500 points scored against me, so I was going down the drain fast no matter what I did.
We all have stories like this. If you played for any length of time where you were the top or the second scoring team in the league, but you had the most points scored against you of anybody in the league by far. I'm in that situation in 2 leagues this year right now where no one else is even within 200 points of how many points have been scored against me in that league. You can't, what are you going to do? You can't do it. That's the point of our game. That's part of the point of it. And if you want to be angry about how your team turned out, listen, dude, you had the same opportunity to draft everybody that the guy in first or third had.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, outside of round one, you literally had the opportunity to take anybody they have. It's just how the game works. Don't be that guy or girl that's wigging out because you missed the playoffs.
Don't drop all your players. Okay, don't do that.
No. Have those conversations. If you truly feel that way, okay, bring it up after the season. Let everybody and say, hey, for next season, can we vote on this at the before the draft?
Propose it as a league vote because that's what those are there for.
That's right.
Just don't be a idiot.
Because the redraft I'm in, everybody's playing. It's the same guys, pretty much, or girls, every year. So you can have these kind of conversations, like you're saying, Chase, but don't have them December 12th. Okay, don't do it. It doesn't work. It's not going to work. And I just checked, and the points I've given up, there's only 2 teams that have given up more points than I have in the entire league. And most of those were on the first 2 weeks where I went 0-2, and I was fighting the rest of the way.
And there's almost literally nothing you can do about that. I mean, sure, you can do things like watch the waiver wire and try to, if the guy you're playing next week has a hurt quarterback, you can try to take the best quarterback off the waiver wire, but it still comes down to luck in a lot of ways. Yeah, it's not like you can scheme and game plan, to stop Saquon Barkley next week. I mean, if he goes off against you, he goes off against you. We've all been there. We've all been on the losing side of that week's 40-point score. It happens.
That's right.
Yeah, it's part of the
and
game.
Hopefully you don't have the guy on your bench who scores 43 points. Hopefully that's not what happened.
Well, yeah.
So I used to when I used to have a job where I basically did nothing all day and I had a lot of free time on my hands. I would get very bored and I would sit there and actually go back and say, what I did. I developed like a power rankings for my league where I would go back and look at kind of the total points you did score and your potential total points if you had made this decision and this decision.
Checking out your efficiency stats.
Yeah, kind of thing, and using and working that towards it. And I found this, like you said, 100%. No one's perfect in fantasy, so stop thinking that your league should be perfect.
I thought about doing something similar to that, but I thought, why depress yourself?
So. Well, it's depressing. It's depressing, and it's just a lot of work unless you develop some sort of.
It really is. Sometimes
system.
I'll go back and look and see who I drafted versus who could have been drafted, and that's bad enough. So I don't need to dive into that any further.
It's tough going back and being like, oh yeah, I took Darrell Henderson in the 5th, and I could have had or whoever, whoever the hell. But don't do that to yourself.
Jason, my job is keeping you and TSS happy. That is my job.
Come on, Commissioner Coop.
But he does have a question here, though, before we get into our first commercial break here. Standard flex, he's got Zay Jones,
this is
Josh
ugly.
Palmer, and Greg.
This is absolutely ugly.
I mean, it's not. What's the? Hold on, I want to check.
Well, because Zay Jones is questionable, first of all.
Sure.
Well, and so's his quarterback. Yeah, that's the thing.
So,
if I knew that Trevor Lawrence was
quarterback,
game,
and if Mike Williams plays, then Joshua Palmer goes to receiver number 3. But that's the question right there. And Dulcich
Mike Williams
doesn't have a quarterback, even though his name is Wilson, is worth a diggity dog. So I would certainly think maybe there are better options than these 3. There got to be, doesn't it?
I mean, I'm going out of these 3. I'm going Dulcich just because Mike Williams is. It looks like he's playing. He doesn't have an injury designation.
Because the last time he played, he lasted 1 series and he was out.
Well, and that's true. Yeah, so that could happen again. So which would obviously elevate Palmer here, but
it sounds weird to say that, but in such a terrible tight end like situation as the league is right now. And Dulcich hasn't scored since his season debut, but he's coming off a game where he had 8 targets, 6 catches. So I mean, 85. He got you 14 points just by playing without even seeing the end zone. And with the questions surrounding, Lawrence's availability, Jones's availability. Jones may or may not even play, like you said. with Palmer possibly being the third receiver. Now, the Chargers are one of those games.
Answering the question, Commissioner Cooper, go with Dulcich.
Yeah, go with Dulcich.
Go with Dulcich. I don't like because I'm looking right here. Miami is 15th against wide receivers. And so if he's the number 3 wide receiver, that does not give me confidence at all going into that game. So even though I don't like any of these 3, I say let's go with option D. But if I can't do that, then Dulcich is my final answer.
Yep, same here. Dulcich, it is. He's been the one somewhat bright spot in that offense.
Right, but I say there's got to be a better option than those 3. There has to.
Yeah, and by bright spot, I mean he has the best chance of hitting 10 points. So
right.
That's not much to say. But
that's about what you're hoping. That's your
I'll
feeling right there.
I'll take
10
that
points.
Out of any tight end, though.
That's not good.
I'll take it out of any tight end. But that's going to bring us to Manscaped here. We'll be right back after a quick word from Manscaped, and we're going to get into some game-specific information for you. We'll be right back.
This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends over at Manscaped. Everyone loves turkey and stuffing, but you'll be looking like dessert with the help of Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have blessed you with the ultimate Thanksgiving dinner topic. Tell your in-laws about your new cutting-edge ball trimmer and gift yourself or the man in your life the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Trim your pumpkins by going to manscaped.com and use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY for free shipping and 20% off. Think your holiday spread is good? It's time to give thanks to the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, or as I like to call it, the perfect package for your package. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance Boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. Think of it as a cornucopia for your balls. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Be thankful this holiday season for the best gift of all from Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
Pumpkin.
That's going to be the funniest promo I've ever heard right there. Dan, there you go. Okay.
Yes. Cheers to Dan. Latest news right now, Saquon Barkley is going to be playing. He's active this week with that neck injury, so he was a true 50-50 decision. So that's good news right there to find that out nice and early.
That's a neck injury. That's not good, even if he does play to me.
No.
But if you got Barkley, what other options do you have? Do you have to play him?
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to, especially if you're facing down playoffs.
Temper those expectations.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you got to play him no matter what. So good luck to hopefully Barkley can show up the way he needs to for you this week. But let's get into this, guys. Look, we got some good rivalry games this week that could produce some interesting things. We got Jets Bills, we got Eagles Giants, we got Ravens Steelers. When you first look at these games, honestly, none of them are really jumping off the page as being high scorers. But it feels like they could be some hidden gems in there. Like you said, we just talked about Barkley for the Giants. I'm not sleeping on Daniel Jones this week.
Hopefully he'll pass for more than 200 yards. Hopefully, because he was 25 or 31. You'll take that all day long, but for only 200 yards, that's not making it.
Well, he's facing Philadelphia, so that's not.
He's facing Philadelphia. That's not a recipe to success. They're the number one team against quarterbacks. So,
but Daniel Jones is getting you 5 points walking in the door through his legs. He's a great running quarterback, and against good teams, against good defenses, sometimes that can be a little bit of an equalizer there. He may or may not throw for 200 yards even, but if he can escape long enough to get a couple of passes out.
I don't know. Against that Philly defense, that's not something I'm banking on.
No, I've only got him ranked down to 15. I've got him as a real low end, starter option if you're in a 16.
All the Giants players are low end except for Barkley.
But
with the exception of
getting you 5 points
maybe Bellinger, maybe our guy Daniel Bellinger shows up today.
Do not sleep on Bellinger.
And you look at that. And even though the Philadelphia is number 6 against tight ends, so that's not a great matchup either. So But
But
if you've got
no.
27 injured tight ends, and maybe that's the place to go.
Options.
At a certain point, what are you going to do with it? Yeah, I mean, and the guy did come back from a fractured
He did.
face to catch 5 balls last week.
That's
I
right.
mean,
All 5.
he's a good player.
And
So-
everybody dropped him. He was so accessible. I mentioned it on Sophistication.
I didn't drop him in my
Sophistication-
dynasty league, just so you know.
Well, so I mentioned it on Sophistication Station on TSS earlier this week.
That's
that
right.
He was only like 3% owned. Like he was very, very
I
gettable.
can tell you that right now. Hold on.
Yeah, he was very gettable, and he's going to be, if not their number 1 option, their number 2 option for just the lack of other guys.
Preseason, he was basically
Daniel Bellinger
free.
at this moment is 14.8% owned.
See, that's the Sophistication Station bump right there.
There you go.
Kevin
That's
brought
right.
up Dynasty
That's right.
with him.
It went up 11% just based off Andrew. So
Yeah,
there you
Kevin
go.
brought up Dynasty there, though, and Daniel Bellinger was basically free.
Yeah.
In Dynasty
That's
as
right.
well as redraft. And if you picked him up, I mean,
Hopefully,
the later
you
your draft
listened
was,
to
the
us
more
on Wednesday,
intel you
Chase,
had.
because we talked about Foster Moreau. You know how many points he had?
Yeah, no,
0.
trust me, I started him in one of my home
Squad
leagues, but I'm already locked in.
So hopefully you listened to us and you
Bye,
didn't
Andy.
pick him up. And squad douches do not help. All right.
Somebody beat me to Bellinger, or I would have had him.
And bring us the receipts. We don't mind hearing if we got something wrong. Come back, let us know. Bring us the receipts because I honestly forget what we tell people to do each week. So I don't know how we're doing as far as our predictions go.
Well, there's somebody that's going to the tape right now to let us know this. So
Good.
Be,
I want to
be ready for it.
I want to hear from them. I want them to watch. We'll do that.
That's right.
But look, top of the slate here, right at 1:00. Jets and Bills. You know, obviously the Jets got the win last time they faced it. I don't face the Bills. I don't see that happening again in Buffalo. And I just don't look. Mike White's been a fun story, but I think we saw last week in that first half where he just looked very inefficient and abysmal. He obviously pulled it back in the second half and was able to salvage some fantasy points for you, but I don't see the Jets taking out the Bills here. I think this is going to be a pretty straightforward. I do think it's going to be low scoring. So I think once you get the Bills get like 2 touchdowns in them, I think you're probably going to see it really slow down. So I'm really, as far as the Bills go here, obviously Allen, I'm looking at Diggs, obviously, but I might just take a shot on James Cook after that. And I'm seeing a lot of people asking about Gabriel Davis this week too. Like, how do you guys feel about Gabriel Davis?
Don't do it.
Yeah, he's taking a turn.
Gabriel Davis is not a safe play, but he's a high upside play. He's this year's what I always think of as Tyler Lockett, where any week he can go off for high 20s, 30 points.
Except Tyler Lockett goes off more.
But the rest of the
than
time, you might get 4 or 5 points if you're lucky out of him.
Tyler Lockett.
This year, Tyler Lockett's been a lot more consistent. He's been much more consistent under.
No,
with Geno
don't do it
Smith.
this week. The Jets are number 2 against wide receivers. Don't do it.
Depends on on what you need. I mean, I have him downgraded from where I normally have him.
Yeah.
I have him down at 26. I have him as a flex option this week, where I vacillate between making him a mid-range wide receiver 2 and a high-end flex. I've got him as a mid-flex this week, but I mean, it depends where you're sitting, like we've talked about, and what your roster construction is. If you can't afford safe, I mean, if you're fighting for the playoffs, if you need a win this week, do you want to play it safe, or do you want to go for the highest upside and take your shot and shoot your shot and try and get in? Gabe Davis is a guy that can go off for you if he gets. I mean, he only needs to get a hold of 3-4 balls, and boom, he can score you a ton of points. So, I mean, yeah, I'm not recommending him as a starter necessarily, but I don't think he's untouchable just because of the matchup.
No, I agree, and there was somebody was specifically asking, and between him and Garrett Wilson this week.
No, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah,
Garrett Wilson, not just because he's a Wilson, though, So
Yeah,
you got to add that in there. All right, but you got to like what Garrett Wilson's doing out there, and he has a quarterback that can throw him the football. Even though he, as you mentioned earlier, White didn't look all that great. He didn't even throw a touchdown this last week.
He's coming off 15 targets and 162 yards.
That's right. He did throw, however, for 369 yards.
No.
Didn't White have a rushing touchdown too?
No question about it.
Wilson on the other side of that equation then is both a safe play and
And a
an
upside play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, the Bills are not the Bills defense we've seen in the past.
Well, yeah.
They're
without
number
Von
24
Miller, too.
against wide receivers. So Wilson all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
I'm
that
fine with that.
specific situation, Wilson by far.
And it would be so much fun to see the Jets sweep the Bills. That would be a lot of fun, just as a Patriots fan.
Yeah,
It would
and
be, but after we all made these
then we could
takes-
listen to Ryan. Was that Tuesday when he comes
Yeah.
on and talks about his Jet? So that would be something to look
McCarthy.
forward to if that did happen.
Yeah, no. After we all made these takes on it, though, I fully expect Gabe Davis to have 3 touchdowns on
Of
4
course.
catches for 112 yards or something ridiculous.
That's how this works.
That's how it works because before the Rams game this past week, I went on there and said, "Oh yeah, take the Raiders minus the points." And so what do? They crap all over themselves in the
What
fourth
a
quarter.
great game!
And yeah. So Kevin Wilson doesn't know what in the hell he's talking about because I said take the Raiders minus the
Listen,
point.
the entire planet had that game wrong. What a
Yeah.
Right.
great game!
Of course, it doesn't
Good for
help
you,
when the
Baker
Raiders
Mayfield.
Play like the Raiders, and they do dumb plays and
Yeah.
dumb penalties and
Let's be real though. Not so much what a great game. What a great 5 minutes.
Well,
Right.
yeah, well, the ending,
Nobody
yeah.
cared about that game, even because they had 98 yards to go.
Yeah.
So until they got to midfield, that was still nothing to watch.
Those
After
5
that-
minutes. Those 5 minutes make that game.
Oh, that was
Everybody-
fantastic.
We will never for the rest of our lives, when among football people, when you bring up that game, or when you bring up Baker Mayfield's name, that game
Yeah.
will come up. I mean, no matter what that dude does for the rest of his life, whether he becomes Ryan Fitzpatrick 2.0, whether he grabs a starting job and goes on to great success, whether he fades away, you bring up Baker Mayfield's name in the future, and that game will come
That's right.
up.
And if you're the Raiders, there's no way in the world you can allow that to happen. A quarterback signs, and then
They
2
found
days
the one
later,
way.
he's leading the 98-yard drive for a winning touchdown.
Like Doctor
That's
Strange in Endgame. Like they found the
Yeah,
one
that's
way.
as Raiders get right there. Too bad they couldn't have done that 2 weeks earlier against the Seahawks.
Raiders and Broncos. The Raiders and Broncos, 2 of the most disappointing teams this year, and both in the division that everyone thought, including
Everybody
all of
thought
us,
maybe
was
they'd
going to
all
burn
have
the
winning
league
records
down.
in that division, but no.
Yeah, and meanwhile, AFC East. Who would have thought?
That's right.
Who would have thought? We'll see how that turns out because I don't have much faith in my boys after what I've been seeing. But you can sense the depression in my voice there. But anyways, Chase, let's get to you here.
We thought we were going to lose you last week, man. We
That's
brought
right.
that up on
That's
Wednesday.
right. We speculated about that. We even said a prayer for you.
I almost called in a wellness check, but I didn't know where the hell you moved to.
that I don't even remember what I was doing during that game. I don't remember. I think I just stopped watching. It was brutal. I think I went to bed.
Depressed memory now.
Yeah,
That's
it
right.
was-
So
that's
so make sure you don't use hypnosis to figure it out either.
Keep
So
it down
leave that
inside.
alone.
Keep it down
Just
inside.
keep that away. But yeah, Chase, where are you looking for some fantasy value this week?
Not too far from home. Vikings Lions.
Yeah, that's the one right there.
That is a point explosion waiting to happen. The Vikings are not great against the pass. The Lions have played, well on offense most of the year. We know they can score points, but we also know they give up a ton. They did lose a game. What was it, 48-45 earlier this season?
Yeah.
That's been kind of a theme around Detroit. I'm interested to see if they can get Jamison Williams a little more involved in Detroit. He
Yep.
made his debut last week, played a handful of snaps, had one target, didn't catch it, but got his feet wet in the game. But he was such an explosive player, and he was such a great prospect. With that knee injury, I'm interested to see if they can work him in a little more. That is a solid receiving core, top to bottom.
Sure
Amon-Ra
is.
St. Brown is a legitimate number 1 in this league and in fantasy.
Mhm.
DJ Chark is a good receiver. He's not great, but he's very good. For crying out loud, the rest of the guys they got there, Josh Reynolds and Quintez Cephas, if he was healthy. They've got some decent, fun receivers to watch there. But Jamison Williams I mean, if he can emerge, having him across from Amon-Ra St. Brown would be awesome. So I'm interested to see what they can do with him, if they can get him a little more involved this week. DeAndre Swift had a great game, looked like a lead back last week, and they actually used him rushing wise as one. Jamal Williams will probably still get a touchdown or 7 because that seems what he does this week. But I'm excited to see what Swift can do against this Vikings team. And then on the other side of the field, of course, you've got Justin Jefferson, you've got Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
You've got Kirk Cousins, who, for all of his other faults and real life
It's
faults,
not a primetime game, so that's
right.
a plus for him.
No, and TJ Hawkinson is tight end 3 in the league. We've talked about how terrible the tight end landscape is. Well, TJ Hawkinson has emerged as one of those safe bets. I mean, he sees a ton of targets for them. I'm excited to see where that game can go. I would like to see the Lions win just to keep the suspense for one more week if they can come back, but we'll see.
Was this the first time that a 10-2 team has been a 2.5 point underdog?
If it's not, it's part of a damn small handful. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the
wild.
thing that I think. Well, and Vegas, keep in mind, everybody, Vegas is trying to bait you on this one a little bit.
Exactly,
They always are. But yeah, they are begging you to take the Lions. I think they're begging you to take the Lions on that.
I might have to fall into that trap and do that and take the over.
Jump on the bandwagon.
The over is even at 51.5. The over feels very
It's going
tempting.
up. It was 50 earlier in the week.
I just said that they've had games where they scored 40-some points on their own. We think the Lions
That's right.
are going to score
They sure
40
have.
points, and do we really think that one of these two teams will give up 40 and or will score 40 and not give up at least 10? Yeah.
They always go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So that definitely feels like
The over is tempting. But they are begging you to take the Lions straight up in this one. They are begging you all day long to take the Lions in this one. Which should tell you something, but
I am going to go bet that over right now, actually. And I'm going to put in my weekly parlay as well. Kevin, what says you? Where are you looking here? Because Vikings and Lions is definitely the one I was looking at.
Chase keeps poaching the ones we want to work with. And so I'm going to go ahead and go with my Seahawks right here. And so if you've got DJ Moore and Donta Foreman, as I have, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those are must-start players right there
Fire them up.
all day long. Because you've got two defenses. Carolina's 25th against running backs. They're 20th against wide receivers. They're good against tight ends. So Noah Fant, unfortunately, does not get my vote. But other than that, Metcalf must start. You don't have to tell me, have me to tell you that. Lockett is must start. Of course, Smith must start.
With Metcalf being a little banged up, and what is he a must start this week?
If he's healthy, he's a must start player.
Okay.
And then it's unfortunate that Walker doesn't look like he's going to play, and DJ Dallas doesn't look like he's going to play.
Yep.
So Homer, however, that's got to be last name Homer, okay. But anyways, he's healthy, and he's a guy that can run and catch. So if you need a running back, you're desperate, Homer might be the home run play for you this week.
Tony Jones Jr. was also a pretty popular pickup this week, just in case. But
since Homer's healthy, I'm going Homer.
Yeah, with Homer healthy, he's actually been there, and knows the offense probably a little better than Jones. Jones has been kind of a career disappointment to this point, but
And so maybe we could talk about some Carolina other players, but
you
Seattle's defense has been, god awful. We know that. And so, but DJ Moore, Donta Foreman, play him, start him right now.
Noah Fant is coming off a game where he scored a touchdown. He caught 4 or 5 balls. I mean, he's the best bet on tight end at the beginning of the year. That was a complete tight end cluster, where we didn't know from one week to the next whether it was going to be Will Dissly, Colby Parkinson, who. Yeah. But Fant has emerged as, I think, the leader of that group. We know he's got the talent to do that because we've seen it in the past. We saw it in Denver. And he is coming off a game where he scored a touchdown for the first time in months and, caught 4 balls for 42 yards. He had a good game last week. I mean, I'm not going to write him off, but I agree with you. He's not the top option. He's not the top fantasy option, period, in this game. There's a lot to like on both sides because of the matchup. I agree.
Well, the news just came across that Zay Jones is in fact playing today.
Okay.
So I changed my answer from earlier. Zay Jones, play him.
Yeah.
All right. Play him because Tennessee is number 30 against wide receiver. 3-0. There's only 2 teams worse in the entire NFL.
Palmer's going to have a 2-touchdown game since we all said that. Now, Dulcich and Jones. Yeah, dude, Dulcich and Jones. And then, watch Palmer.
Yeah, so I like Zay Jones. I like how he plays. And but that was the only thing that we needed to know is if he was going to be healthy or not. If he's healthy against that defense, he becomes clear the starter to me.
He's been fairly consistent this season. I like Zay Jones. I think Jones has acquitted himself well this week. It's kind of unfortunate, or this year, I should say. It's kind of unfortunate he's going to be relegated to wide receiver 3 or 4 duty next year when Calvin Ridley's back and healthy across from Christian Kirk. But Zay Jones has been kind of a fun fantasy find this year.
He has been.
Yeah.
He's a guy that you could most certainly got off the waiver wire.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, okay, Jason, hope you're still listening because Kevin just pulled a 180 on you.
He abandoned long ago. He's pre-gaming for the night already.
So,
all right, we're gonna
hopefully he's listening still because I listened to his show earlier this morning. So
there you go. It's only fair.
Hopefully he's still on board.
Reciprocity. Coop.
That's right.
All right,
We love the guys over at TSS. We love them. Check them out
That's
for
right.
us every Sunday morning. Yep.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here from the guys over at True Classic Tees. And when we come back, we're going to get to some of your start sit questions out there. So get them in on Twitter and get them in on YouTube, and we will get to them. We will be right back.
Football is back, baby, and our new sponsor, True Classic, wants you to look and feel your best even after a couple of brewskis or going full force on your fantasy football draft. Sure, it's football season, but it's also butt to couch season. Luckily, True Classic has the absolute best fitting clothing a man can buy. Snug in the arms and chest with a little extra space in the torso, their t-shirts are designed to keep you cozy and highlight your best assets no matter what you're up to. So if your special someone is upset that you're watching football all day, at least you can look good doing it. True Classic has already helped over 2 million men find the perfect fit at an affordable price. Our listeners get access to the best deal they offer. For a limited time only, get 25% off with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASY at TrueClassic.com. Almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on skinny models with 6-packs, but most of us aren't packing anything but a few beers. Fellas, you are wearing the wrong clothes. True Classic tees taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. It's time to highlight your best attributes with a t-shirt you can always confidently throw on. It's about time to get your fit together, so upgrade your wardrobe with True Classic and get 25% off at TrueClassic.com with promo code BELLYUPFANTASY. Free shipping included on purchases over $100. That's 25% off at TrueClassic.com with the promo code BELLYUPFANTASy. If there's one bet you should make this football season, it's on True Classic. True Classic, look good, feel good.
And thanks to the guys over at True Classic. We always say best t-shirts we have as the three of us here. So get that guy in your life a nice Christmas gift. Go over to True Classic, use that discount code, and make his day, make his year. That's how comfortable they are. Make his year. But hey, let's get into some of these start sit questions because there's a lot of good ones this week. Excuse me. So one I just saw, both in the same game too. Would you start Mac Jones or Kyler Murray this week?
Murray, all the time.
Just because of the upside.
Just because it's Mac Jones we're talking about. The guy's like quarterback 29 on the season. You know he's not going to run from.
I think that he could play pretty well if you've got a need for number 2 quarterback. Mac Jones might be the answer. But head to head,
I will say this was a 2 quarterback league. I will say that. I forgot to mention.
That's
that.
right.
But
so
if it's a 2-quarterback league
And you've got 27 teams on bye this week,
No.
so what else?
if you're
Who else
talking
are you going to
about
put in
your
that number?
second quarterback
In one
on that
league, I don't even have a second quarterback. I can play this
I've
week.
got a couple leagues like that right now because they're dynasty leagues, and I haven't been in them long enough to actually, deepen my bench there, my reserves. But if you're talking a 2-quarterback league, and you're choosing between Murray and Jones all day long, because Murray has an opportunity. Murray is a quarterback 1 in most settings. He's not necessarily top 5, but he is top 12, top 10, top 12 in most settings. So you're talking about starting a number 1 quarterback as your number 2 option. I'm assuming, because I would hope nobody at this point is putting Mac Jones in as their number 1 option. But yeah, you're talking at a 2, especially 2-quarterback league. Yeah, grab
So here's the question.
Murray.
We're talking about Murray. What about Murray or Tom Brady?
Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Murray.
I think I'm going Tom Brady this week.
Really?
I'm buying into the narrative of.
Do you get extra points for not throwing interceptions? Because Brady's been awesome at that this season. I mean, he's got three interceptions on the year. He's awesome.
Yeah, but no, I'm viewing it as I'm buying into the narrative that this is going to be a chance for Brady to kind of show out in San Fran where he wants to play next year. There's a narrative going around about Brady, wanting to change teams. San Francisco would be still his team of choice, and he may just want to show that he can still do it on a level that they need. So why not? I'll take those.
I don't know why the 49ers want him.
Kyler Murray's been inconsistent as far as hitting his ceiling goes.
Yeah.
Tom Brady has.
What
been
else is
too.
new? That's been since draft day.
No, I know, and Brady has been too. Given that I'm still waiting to see if DeAndre Hopkins is playing, but Rondell Moore looks like he's going to be out. Like, it just feels like I'd rather have Brady, who seems to be clicking with Chris Godwin right now. If he can get Mike Evans going, I'd rather play Brady this week. But that's just me.
Okay. Yeah, well, so there you have it. It's a split decision.
Split decision, as always. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I agree with you, Andrew. I'd go with Tom Brady as well.
Well, there we go. Not so much a split anymore, Chase.
So you want Tom Brady? So you like Tom Brady against the 49ers defense?
I don't like that.
Better
but I like
than
it
you
better
like Kyler
New
Murray
England
at
defense
home.
is no joke either.
Okay, well,
Judon's gonna get after it.
we might have to put a.
Josh Uche's gonna get after it. Like the Patriots can get at the quarterbacks. The one thing they can do. It's whether they can.
That's right. They
well.
sure can.
That's the one thing they have been awful at this year is containing the quarterback with his feet. So if they can do that with Murray, then I like Brady. Here is another good one. I know we already talked about DJ Moore earlier, and we really like DJ Moore. Do you like him more in a half PPR than Deontay Johnson against Baltimore?
Moore actually remembered where the end zone is. Deontay Johnson is
great.
Deontay Johnson is one of the top targeted receivers in this entire league, but he is the only one of the top 50 targeted wide receivers in the league who has not scored yet. Yeah. Deontay Johnson and Kenny Pickett forgot where the end zone is. And so, yeah, I would still go DJ Moore.
There's not a lot of people that like Sam Darnold at quarterback, but DJ Moore is one of them. And so I like that matchup a lot better.
I mean, I can see them both getting, 8 to 11 targets. I can see them both catching 4 or 5 balls out of that. But if they're both going to do that, DJ Moore has the better opportunity to actually get across the stripe. So, yeah,
they're going up against the worst defense too. So that's all. Check all the boxes for DJ Moore.
Deontay Johnson, but DJ Moore is the play there.
Yep. Nope. I agree. DJ Moore as well. So that's a clean sweep for DJ Moore. Here's what we got: a PPR. You got to sit one of these guys. Amari Cooper, who is now active. He is playing today. Mike Williams or Isaiah Pacheco. To remind you, Cooper's going up against Cincinnati, Williams against Miami, and Pacheco against Denver. I believe all of them are playing at home.
Pacheco against Denver is not a great matchup, but he is their lead back, and they are going to run in that game. I would not be sitting Pacheco.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
I'd be sitting Williams because we just don't
I
know.
think
how he
so
was coming
too,
off of that
because I
injury.
have to see that he's healthy before I'm getting on board that train.
Yeah.
Even though if he is healthy, I would take him, but he isn't. He has not been, and so yeah. So I check in that way. I had to make sure we weren't getting like bull rush here or something like that. But
Oh. That was good timing, Chase.
so yeah,
Great
so
minds, man. Great minds.
that's
think alike.
right.
All right, here's actually a really interesting one here that I think might actually spark some debate. It's a quarterback question. We have Mahomes against Denver, who we know can just absolutely drag the other team down into an absolute just slow drag of a game. Or Tua against the Chargers.
Oof.
It's close.
I don't know how
This
you
is-
would have both of those guys on your team, first of all, but if you did, then I'd go Tua.
I have Tua ranked higher, but yeah, we're kind of in the minority league wide. I mean, not league wide, industry wide against that. Mahomes is actually ranked higher, I think, by the aggregate. But yeah, I like Tua better as well in this one. The Denver defense is damn good.
They are.
And the Denver offense is damn not.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that they're going to
Yeah.
need Mahomes to throw as much.
Yeah.
I think that they will be able to, not have to rely on him as much. Whereas
Well, if they score 2 touchdowns, they win that game.
in a shootout.
Yeah. That
It's going to be a shootout there against the Chargers. Chargers are 20th against quarterbacks. So this is Tua to me. Like I said, I don't know how you have both of them on your team, but if you did, Tua is the way to go.
Right.
You got the highest
First world problems, dude.
highest over under at 54.
Unless you're in a 16 league or something like that.
Yeah. So I am a fan of Tua as well, and we are in the minority there. The public says 55% Mahomes, 44 Tua. So good for us for being contrarian.
That's right. So that's why you watch this show, to get the better insight.
Yes.
All right. I don't know if you were watching ESPN to get that information, but here's why you need to be over here instead of over there.
Oh, you're calling out ESPN. Now it's on.
That's right.
Now we're
I'll
going
call out
head-to-head.
ESPN.
David
I have
and
no
Goliath.
problem with that.
Take
Going
that
head
for
to head. Let me see what else we got here. I'm trying to
At least
find
over here, you don't have to pay ESPN Plus. You have to pay money, which baffles me greatly. When you could just come over here and get all the information you need.
Shots fired.
Here we go again. Kevin's gonna get us into a fight.
That's all right. I'm ready.
Kevin's the friend you bring to the bar when you accidentally bump into somebody. You're like, no, it's okay, it's cool. And then Kevin turns around and goes, "What are you
That's
doing?"
when I stand up and say, "Calm down." All right.
I've said that since you released that publicity photo of you.
Oh yeah,
Like the mafia hitman. Kevin, all
The
business.
fantasy
Wilson.
hitman right here. That's right.
It's so true there. All right, here's one.
Actually, I'm the guy that hires the hitman. That's what that is.
you're the hire. Okay, I'm not sure which one is scarier then.
Or I just tell them to go. That's what it is. I don't hire anybody. I just say, "Hey, get out there.
Just do it.
Take care of it."
Okay, so because we seem to be in a little disagreement on Kyler today, let's bring Kyler into the discussion again here. Would you play Kyler over Jared Goff this week?
Oh no, I'm playing Jared Goff all day long. He has been on fire. He's going up against a sorry Minnesota defense. There's nothing that you can't like about Jared Goff this week.
I've got Kyler at 9. I've got Goff at 11. I'll go with Kyler.
No, it's Goff.
I forget. What,
Especially since they're playing on Monday night. That I always have. That makes me a little leery, and when you got a plus matchup like this,
11. I've got him at 9 and 11. It would not shock me to see Goff go off in this game and actually outscore Kyler.
because Kyler Murray's got the much better defense he has to go up against, and he doesn't have all his weapons. So I like Jared Goff, especially he's a guy you could have got off the waiver wire. In some
Oh
way.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I like Goff as well. So golf. You know,
Golf.
Divots and pivots on the brain, I guess.
That's right. So yeah,
Goff is my pick as well there. Would you play Dante Foreman over Damian Pierce this week in a non-PPR? We don't see much of those anymore, actually.
Ooh.
Non-PPR.
Even if it's
Foreman
non
or Pierce?
PPR, I'm still playing Dante Foreman. To me, that's an
He's
easy
just
pick. To me,
He's just gonna get the touches. I mean,
He's
but
gonna
so
get
is
the
Damian.
touches.
So is Damian
He's-
Pierce. So that's the thing. But
Well,
and they're both such bad
yeah,
offenses.
that's right. And the defense is not good against running backs, but I still have to believe that the Panthers are going to be in this game more and longer than the other direction. So I got to go with Dante Foreman here.
Yeah, I've got him ranked real close. I mean, you talk about a standard league. I have Pierce actually 2 spots ahead of Foreman on that. That really is a toss-up. Pick him.
Yeah.
I guess, when you're looking at it, do you feel that the Texans are going to be in the game more?
No,
And actually
I
have
think
an
that's going
opportunity
to be
to
out of
use
control
Pierce?
by the
Or
end
is
of the
he going to
first
be
quarter.
is he going to be game scripted out and it'll be Dario Gunbowale season? You know,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's how I see that game rolling.
standard
I don't
league.
see
I
him
do
scoring
have Pierce still
38
ranked
points or
2.
whatever in the first quarter, but the Cowboys are going to have a huge lead in that game early on.
So I'm leaning Foreman here barely as well. It feels like the potential for one of those random 3 touchdown performances like we saw earlier this year. So, and if you need a home run to hit the playoffs, I think Foreman will have a higher ceiling because of the game.
If you need a home run to hit the playoffs, I agree with you that Foreman may have the upside. I have Pierce ranked 2 spots ahead of him in standard, but if you need the home run, we've been talking about it all hour.
Yep.
Yeah, you can do worse than swinging with Foreman.
Now, what's interesting here is the public here out of 45 votes, overwhelmingly 66% saying Foreman over Pierce to 33% on Pierce. So I actually thought that vote would be a little bit closer, but it looks like everybody has got similar thinking.
I think people have cooled on Pierce because he hasn't been.
Well, he has cooled down
early
so
in the
there's
season.
reason
Well,
for that.
Yeah.
And
he was bucking the trend all along, though, because they have not been a good team, and he's a running back on a not.
They've been
good
absolutely
team.
terrible.
He's
they don't have
always
a
in
quarterback.
negative game script. He's in negative game script from the opening kickoff, but yet he was still fantasy relevant and not just fantasy relevant, fantasy good for the first 2 months of the season or so. But I mean, he's been bucking the trend all along, yeah. Whereas Foreman, yeah.
I'm sorry, we gotta
calm down.
We gotta. This is hilarious because what I do is whenever we answer these start sits, I go out there and make sure I let the person who is asking the question know that we're gonna answer it live, so that make sure they're tuning in at the right time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, so in the Tua versus Mahomes one, the person who asked commented back. Obviously, was listening. I will say he misheard something that was said, and his response was, "Did that old head really say you're in a 16 league if you have Mahomes and Tua?" Laugh my
I did
ass
say that.
off.
I'll defend that till the day I take my last breath.
So
There's
I misheard.
that you should have both of those.
I'm the one who misheard you then because I thought you said 16, which would have been crazy. But he said Tua was drafted in the 13th round and dropped. He said he's feeling cute and leaning Tua.
Okay.
I actually had the opportunity to pick up Tua in a league too where he was dropped. So I mean, yeah, it's possible, but still.
Okay. Well, stand corrected.
Kevin's
fired
stands.
Okay, I fired
point
somebody
stands.
up out there. So all right,
somebody up.
somebody was fired up over a Wilson comment. All right.
Isn't that what we want, whether it's negative or positive?
No press is bad press.
That's right. That's right.
We just want people to care. Yeah. So. But look, that is going to bring us to the end of our Sunday morning show here. Week 14 is about to start.
That's right.
I still got unpacking to do before that. I've been unpacking for like a week here. That's
right.
why
we got to hit the road and listen to the games on the radio. So
there you go. Hey, football on the radio isn't the worst thing in the world to listen to on the radio. I love hockey on the radio. I think that's very exciting. But football's not bad. I prefer watch Chase. I saw your face. I prefer watching hockey in person or on TV. But if I'm forced to listen to it on the radio, it's not the worst sport to listen to on the radio because the play-by-play guys just get into it and they do a very descriptive job.
Listen,
of what's going
you
on,
have
so.
play-by-play.
You just have to know the names.
Hockey play-by-play, especially on the radio, you've got to be on your game. Those guys are the cream of the cream in terms of
especially that puck is blowing by you at 118 miles an hour, whatever.
I mean, it's tough enough on television being a hockey announcer with how quickly the game moves. But I mean, radio-wise, of the four majors, radio-wise, I prefer baseball on the radio.
What?
I prefer baseball on the radio.
I'll take baseball on the radio. I'll back you up all day long on that.
Doc, you didn't grow up. I'm gonna give you a pass because you didn't grow up.
I grew up
on the radio.
Listening to I grew up listening to baseball on the radio. My grandfather's truck every weekend.
But you did not grow up listening to Bob Uecker on the radio. And Bob Uecker
no.
is a national treasure, Wisconsin state treasure. I mean, specifically, but that dude can turn a 15-3 game in the fourth inning. He can turn that into an entertaining run.
Just a bit
Whereas
outside.
you might, you're using the remote control if you're watching that shiznit on ESPN. But with Uecker on the radio, hell yeah, man. I love baseball on the radio. I will take it there.
Especially because I listen to Vin Scully. He doesn't get any better.
Vince Scully, another one. Yeah, that's.
Boom. I mean, when you're listening to the classic guys like that and the absolute legends of it, but you have to be on another level to do hockey radio play-by-play. I will give you that. Those guys are talented. It's not that it's not fun. It's just hockey's also the one of the four major sports I'm the least familiar with, so I have a harder time following it on the radio. The same way I know my wife loves football, but on the radio she's like, touchdown. Otherwise, she doesn't care about hearing who's split out to the right and I formation in the backfield, motion, motion to trips left,
pass and all that.
Yep.
I will say we got another comment back from your new arch nemesis there, Kevin. He just
laughed.
Bring it. He laughed. He just laughed and said he dropped it like he's stuffing, and he loves the vibes we bring. So he appreciated us answering the question. So all good fun there.
All right.
All good fun. But hey, that is
all good. We like it when it's all good.
That is going to do it for us here on the Belly Up Fantasy Live for this Sunday for Week 14. Good luck if you're still chasing that playoff spot.
That's right.
If you are not chasing that playoff spot, then I hope you start thinking about next year because that's all you got left for this year. So good luck.
But we will be here for you. We will be here for you all through the offseason.
Yes.
Hopefully, you just if you miss the playoffs then that's it. Because that way you have no interest of coming back next year. So hopefully you're trying to stay out of last place. Definitely.
Well, and that is true. My league.
I have at least secured that in every league that I'm in.
Yeah, I'm not finishing last place either. Yeah, not finishing last place either. So, but hey, have a good day, everybody. Enjoy the football. Good luck, everyone, and we will see you next week every Sunday, 11 o'clock here on YouTube.
Right here.
Belly Up Fantasy.
This is where you want to be.